Tonight, joining us on Frankly Speaking is somebody I would call a spunky woman, somebody who has met life at her own terms, somebody who has pushed the borders, somebody who has set her own goals for herself, somebody who's a very, very, very iconic sports star, and somebody who's the pride of India. Sania Mirza joins me on Frankly Speaking. Thank you very much, Sania Mirza, for joining me tonight. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show because achievers in the field of sports and then women achievers just brighten up all our lives, and you tick all of those boxes. How do you feel about this, Sania? How's been your journey from the age of 16 right up to now? Never tiring, never say die. Sania Mirza, the one and only.
Actually, my journey started at the age of 6, to be very honest with you, because that's when I really started playing tennis. And I think at the age of maybe 12, which is still very young, I kind of decided that this is what I wanted my profession to be. And after that, it's kind of just been on the way up. And you guys, almost everybody has seen me grow up. I've grown up in the media. I was very young when I first sort of had my interaction with the media for the first time when I was maybe 15, 16 years old. So it feels like we've kind of grown together in many ways. But it has been some journey, and I'm so happy to be back here playing tennis still at the age of 34, and obviously being a mother at it is something very, very exciting for me.
Fantastic. How are you gearing up for Olympics? The only person I think who's now entering her 4th Olympic appearance. How's your training going, and how, does it kind of stay in your mind that, oh my God, this is the 4th Olympic competition that I'm going to get into? Does it ever, bring with it its own pressures?
I honestly didn't realize that until a few weeks ago when I was told, to be very honest, because it has been a long, long journey. And at the last Olympics, we came very close to winning a medal. And it was one of the most heartbreaking moments of my life, not just of my career. And I remember thinking to myself that this is the end. I don't have another shot at winning a medal or competing at the Olympics again. Because I knew I wanted to have a kid and I didn't know how my body would respond. There were many, question marks at that point. So to put myself in that position to be able to compete at my 4th Olympics this year at Tokyo is a matter of great pride. I'm obviously very excited, but I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity that I am making. And I feel very proud of myself. I've been able to sustain this level of tennis for this long. And I'm really, really excited to go to Tokyo.
Sania, longevity has been a key aspect of your career, given that you are now entering the 4th Olympic competition. What's kept you going? Has it taken some amount of convincing yourself in your own mind? Is it family support, or where do you draw on, for your own reservoir of confidence to make that cut and go and represent your country in the Olympics?
I think it's a bit of everything, to be very honest. I don't think it's one thing that really keeps me going. I think it's a bit of proving things to myself a little bit. It's a lot of family support. It's a little bit of I like challenges. I put on 23 kilos when I got pregnant, and I was told that forget playing tennis again. I won't ever become healthy or skinny or whatever it is. And then when I'm told that I have to do it, so I was like, you know what, ab to main karungi. And so it's a bit of like everything. I think it's a mixture of things, but it's also an inspiration I take from my son. I hope that one day when he grows up and understands the meaning of all this, I hope that he's proud of his mom for still carrying on with her dreams, and not just kind of squashing them just because I became a mother or whatever, because of the external factors. But most importantly, it's the love for the game, and it's a love for my country to be here and represent my country back to back and year after year. And I'm really, really grateful for being here, and really humbled to have been able to represent India at so many Olympics.
Sania Mirza, there was a time when whether it's male athletes or female, early 30s itself was a mind block that you had to get past to try and enter international titles race. What keeps you going? You almost say 34 as if it's the end of the world. From where I am, 34 seems so just young and happening. How does it work for athletes in their own minds, and do you have to push the boundaries? What do you have to tell yourself? Fitness is amongst the most important challenges. But apart from fitness, which is the physical part, what's the psychological and mental preparation that you have to go through?
No, it takes everything. I mean, sport is a lot about physical fitness and being fit and not getting injured and all that. But it's also about how you feel mentally. I mean, there's so much talk about, especially since Naomi Osaka pulled out of French Open, for example. There's been so much talk about mental health as well, and it takes a lot out of athletes to be able to perform day after day, week after week, and year after year, and put that 100%. And many times there are weeks that you lose, many times there are weeks that you don't lose, but you got to pick yourself up. You got to, turn up the next day and show up and practice and put that 100%. I'll lie if I say that I haven't had moments where I've thought, you know what, I've done whatever I could. It's okay. I think I can hang up my boots. I mean, of course, I've had those moments. And if any athlete tells you they haven't had those moments, they're probably lying. We all have to do that. But it's that love for the game that keeps you going. When I was out of the game for almost a year and a half, when I had my son, I never really thought about retirement, but I wasn't really paying so much attention to coming back. But I started missing it. And believe it or not, you start missing the long hours of training. You start missing that feeling of winning, of walking out on the court, of people cheering you, of, everything. You miss it. And it keeps you going, thinking of that. I mean, of course, tennis and sport is very repetitive, right? It's every morning you wake up, you do the same routine, you warm up, you hit a forehand, you hit a backhand, you hit a serve. I mean, tennis is not that much more complicated, but it's about keeping that drive alive. And I think that as athletes, the love for performing, the love for competing keeps you going.
Well, Sania, you've had many partners to play with, whether it was mixed doubles or women's doubles. This time you're teaming up with Ankita Raina. How do you ensure that as partners you will be complementary to each other? Does it require a lot of practice together? Does it require you to get close to a person in terms of having a very, very comfortable relationship, to have that kind of what they call tal male, sur and tal has to match when you're on the field. How do you do that?
So in a general scenario, when it's not the Olympics, because the Olympics happens every 4 years, it's a little bit different because you play with the same partner for about 25-30 weeks a year. And obviously it helps if you can stand each other over dinner. I mean, you don't need to be best friends, but I think that it does help if you like each other. So I think that I won't say that I was best friends with everybody that I played with, but we hung out, occasionally, and it was nice. And it's nice because in tough and difficult moments on the court, it's that chemistry that sort of takes you through a lot of matches. It's not necessarily the tennis, it's that trust in each other and that friendship that you have, so to say. So it's a lot like a relationship. It's a lot like a marriage. I mean, you have to sort of get along with each other to make it work, But in Olympics, it's a bit different. Ankita is, she's young, and obviously we are playing together because I had a top 10 ranking, and I was able to choose her to play with me this time. And she's a young girl. She's someone I've seen her grow up since she was 14 years old. I think was the first time I met her. She actually came and stayed at my house a couple of months ago, and we trained together for a couple of weeks. So yeah, I have tried to get to know her a little bit more. We are a different generation apart. In tennis, it's a huge thing to be 7 years apart, let me tell you. But yeah, I know. But she's good. She's been playing well over the last couple of years. The best girl that we've had. Obviously I've been asked that question, who next? And she has been that next person over, in the last 10 years. She's had the best results in all the girls that have played. So I am looking forward to it. It's going to take some time. She's actually in Hyderabad to practice. We are practicing together right now this week, and then we will fly to Tokyo in the next couple of days.
Any of your past partners who you would have felt like whacking at some point or the other? I mean, getting along on dinner is fine, but once in a while you just want to just murder them.
Like
I told you about anybody else?
Like I told you, it's like a marriage, right? So we all know what that feels like.
And every marriage has its, every marriage has its moments and challenges.
Exactly. So, I mean, not luckily, I've gotten along with most of my partners. I mean, I don't think there was anyone where I can say, oh my God, I can't stand this person on the court. So, luckily, I've not had that where I've had to whack someone.
Well, yes, luck, and we do hope that luck is going to play a big role along with your hard work and your determination. But tell me about yourself as a mom. Being a mom, going away to the Olympics. Your son Izan is going to ask you questions. Where's mom going? When he's going to see you pack your suitcases. It's going to be an emotional kind of a situation. And so how are you preparing for that? What do you think about leaving him and going off for practically a month?
Yeah, it'll be a couple of weeks, but I have done it before, not for a couple of weeks. The most I've left him is about 8 days. When I did go to Latvia actually to play the Billie Jean King Cup a couple of months ago. As you know, kids change and ask a lot of questions, especially when they're toddlers. So he's full of questions these days. And but luckily he understands what a match is. He understands what practice is. So I just need to tell him I'm going to play a match and I'm going to go for practice. And then he basically, sometimes I come back after 2 hours and sometimes I come back after a week. So he's a bit confused about the timelines, I think. But yeah, I mean, I explain to him, I try and explain as much as possible. And he understands winning and losing a little bit now. He's just begun to understand that. He's understood watching on TV. So I always tell him before I leave that you can watch me on TV and you can cheer for mama. So he started, saying, come on, mama, on the court. And he was watching my matches in London. So it is always hard as a mother. You're torn between a mother's guilt and your career many times. And those are moments that are never going to go away, right? Those moments of mother's guilt are always going to come. But having said that, I think every mother is going to relate to what I'm saying. But having said that,
not just when they are toddlers, it carries on for a long time, Sania.
Yeah,
the guilt never goes away.
Exactly. So I'm just looking forward to, I have to focus on Olympics, and that is something that is my priority. And that was never a question in my head whether he could come or not, whether I would go or not. I mean, I was always going to go. But this is something that as a mother, I have to deal with emotionally. But I'm sure that once I go to the Olympics and once I leave, the leaving is the hard part. Once I get there, I'm fine. So it's just about that 20 minutes of leaving when I have to say goodbye.
But COVID-19, the pandemic here, the kind of bubble that you have to be in Tokyo as well, does that add a totally new dimension to the kind of mental pressures about going as well as about leaving Izan?
It's been a difficult time for the entire world, right? And the last couple of years, we've all dealt with an extremely it's a situation we never thought we would be in, and we are all here. And my life as a tennis player has kind of gotten back to normal. I mean, Izhan is also kind of used to staying in the rooms quite a lot because he does travel with me everywhere. With the bubbles, we are, as tennis players, we are going from bubble to bubble, bubble to bubble, week after week. So Tokyo is no different. I mean, it's just different as in Olympics, because the last 3 Olympics I've been to was very simple and seamless to get to. There seems to be so many more protocols this time, and I mean, rightfully so. Everybody wants to protect themselves. So it is a bit challenging. I think it's different circumstances, but it is something that's not in our control. So we just got to deal with it. Once we get there, safe and sound, just try and focus on our tennis or on our games or on our competitions, and try and do the best that we possibly can.
What do you think about the Indian team, the Indian contingent as a whole? What are their chances in these Olympics? Because every country just puts so much pressure on people like yourself, because we're sitting with our, gaping mouths waiting for a medal to come home. What do you think about the chances of the Indian contingent?
Look, on a very honest note, I think that we are going with our biggest contingent ever, and that is already a huge thing. We aren't really a sporting nation. We are not, the likes of Australia and America and countries like that. We are a cricketing nation, but we are not really a sporting nation. But of course, on the year of the Olympics, we, do start pushing ourselves into trying to follow more sports and including the media. I mean, there's a lot more media coverage about other sports and stuff. So the chances, honestly, I think we've got a couple of very big medal hopes. Obviously, Sindhu is one of them, having had the silver last time. I think Vinesh Fogart is probably one of them. And I think Deepika Kumari, who's number 1 in the world. So, I mean, we are going in with a stronger contingent than ever before. But I would say don't expect us to come back with the medals like China or America does. I mean, we have to be realistic in our approach as well. So the fact is that we are going with a contingent of 125, not of 500. I think we'll be very fortunate. Yeah, we'll be very, very fortunate if we do come back with a bunch of medals. And I really do hope that we do that.
And what about Sania Mirza's chances?
Well, last time, like I said, was heartbreaking for me, and to be in that medal round, we were up a set in the semi-final to go into the gold medal round, and we lost that match. And the worst thing was to come back the next day mentally to prepare ourselves to play that bronze medal match again. Was mentally one of the toughest things that we had to do. So hopefully the experience will help. We're still hoping of Rohan Bopanna getting in the mix, because that's where our realistically our chances of a medal really lie. I think that there was something going on about that today. So we're really hoping that he gets in. So if that happens, we are in with a 50-50 shot.
Fantastic. As a nation, I think we put too much pressure of performance on our sports stars, because we want instant results. That's the way today's generation is. We don't want to put that kind of pressure on you, Sania, but all we can assure you as a nation is a lot of positive vibes coming your way, a lot of good wishes, a lot of prayers. We'll cheer and we'll give it our all to our entire Indian contingent, and we just hope you guys will work the magic there. But I want to ask you, Sania, how do you look at life now? Has parenthood changed you on way you look at things? Have things, the way you handle things, the way you look at things, the way you plan, the way you play, has it all changed due to parenthood? Or is Sania Mirza still the same young debutante who just took the world by storm without any pressures on her mind?
No, I think that some things have changed. I think that with age and experience and, of course, parenthood, you understand and learn that losing a tennis match at the end of the day is not the worst thing in the world when you come back to a child who's smiling at you and says he loves you no matter what happens. So yeah, in a broader perspective. But having said that, I hate losing. So if I ever lose a match, nobody wants to talk to me because I don't want to see anybody's face. But no, I think that some things have changed, yes, the perspective, but it's not just parenthood. I think the pandemic has changed that as well for a lot of us. I think that we have begun to realize that smaller things make us happy. Simple things can make us happy. Eating ghar ka khana is a luxury for tennis players, and we got to do that for 7 months. And we used to take traveling for granted, for example, which we don't do anymore because we can't just pick up our bags and leave. We have to do a PCR test, and we got to see if we got a quarantine. So I mean, there are many things that have that the pandemic and parenthood have put in perspective for me. But having said that, as a tennis player, it hasn't changed me at all. Every time I walk on the court, I want to win, and that's the reason I'm still here, because I believe I can win. If the second that I believe that I'm not good enough to win, I won't be playing tennis anymore. That's something that I know for a fact.
Well, Sania Mirza, I also want to know that the minute women get married, in any profession, there are, is she going to be serious about the job at hand? Is she really going to give it 100%? Is her attention going to be divided? Is it even more difficult for people like you, athletes like you, because, people just assume that you're going to call it quits? Have people made comments of those kinds for you when you became a mom?
Yeah, I mean, before I became a mom, everybody was worried when I was going to become a mom or if I could become a mom. And then once I became a mom, they were worried how I was going to lose the weight and how I was, how body shaming has become a huge thing, right, on social media these days. So it was all about, oh my God, she's so fat. And like, well, I was pregnant. There's a slight difference, but okay, let's just go with that. So I think that, as women, we are subjected to a lot of physical, our appearance is subjected to a lot of comments and suggestions and advice, whether we want to take it or not. And obviously, as a woman, when we talk about equality, we are not really talking about the fact that, physically we are stronger than men. And that's why, it's not about that, right? It's about equal opportunity. It's about the equal treatment. Like you said, people just assume that once you get married, will your attention be divided? I mean, the man is not asked that question. My husband wasn't once asked when he was going to have a baby. I was asked 1 year after marriage when I was going to have a baby all the time. So, I mean, things like that. I mean, there are these hidden sort of, cultural things that as women we just deal with. And unfortunately, we do live in a man's world, whether people like to accept it or not, it is a man's world. So it's women like us who have to stand up and prove them wrong, right? And I guess when we all start doing that, eventually it's going to stop and these assumptions and questions are going to stop.
Come on, man's world, forget it. Not for Sania Mirza, not for any woman of 2021. Men, where are you? They would be scared to come anywhere close to us, Sania.
In this interview, I don't think they're coming anywhere close, but I'm saying in general.
I want to ask you, you said at the beginning of the show, you said, I'm getting 34. Are you planning to call it quits? Please don't. Don't fit into that stereotype.
Actually, I'm not
what do you
right
think?
now.
Are you going to keep going for a while?
I don't know about a while. I honestly don't know. I'm not planning to call it quits. But the fact of the matter is that 34 in any other career is very young. As an athlete, it's not. And that is a fact that we have to accept. I'm a very realistic person. I don't live in the clouds, and I don't like, I'm very realistic. And sometimes I come across as pessimistic, but I'm actually not. I'm very real, and I like to keep it real. And the fact is that I am 34, and I don't know how much longer. I do have pains every morning I wake up. I do have pains that I didn't know I had the other day. My knees feel a certain way. I've had 3 surgeries and I've had a baby. So physical I need to be at my 100% to be able to play at the top of my game. I don't want to play tennis for the sake of playing tennis. Having said that, right now I have no plans. My body feels fine. I feel good. I feel fit, and I feel like I can keep going. And until I keep feeling like that, I'm going to keep going.
And Sania Mirza, if it's not tennis, what is Sania Mirza going to be doing?
I do run a sports tennis academy in Hyderabad. We've been running it for the last 6-7 years, and I do plan to try and expand it. It's just that I can't give much time to it right now as I'm playing full time. But once I do stop, I feel that is the way of us as a family giving back to the sport, giving back to the city and the country that has given us so much. I feel that us as a family can share our experiences in trying to answer that question of who after Sania, which I've been asked for the last 15 years. So that is hopefully the plan, and hopefully we can expand the Sania Mirza Tennis Academy and to different parts of the country and maybe the world.
And what does Izhan enjoy more, cricket or tennis?
So actually he enjoys football, but because he's come with me to Wimbledon, he suddenly started saying tennis, and I'm not very thrilled about that, because I'm just like, I can't go through the same thing for another 30 years. But let's see. I mean, honestly, we don't care. We just, whatever he wants to do. He's got some pretty good genes, and you can see some hand-eye coordination in him. So if he wants to play a sport, he can. I prefer he doesn't play cricket or tennis. I prefer he plays like football or golf or something like that. So, we don't have to go through the same thing again.
Okay, come on. Yes, these days children choose their own calling, and as parents, we just have to make a conducive environment for them to make their choices. But it's so refreshing and so very good to have you on, frankly speaking, Sania Mirza. What a pleasure to have you, and what a pleasure to see a positive thinking mind. And just that positivity is what we want from our entire Indian contingent, led by somebody as experienced as you. And we wish you all the very best, all the luck, all the prayers coming your way. And if we get a medal on your way back, I think this country will enjoy that even more. 3 cheers to you, Sania Mirza, for who you are and what you are to India.
Thank you.